Hello, I'm Laxwolf Logan, and I've been wanting to make Pokemon Go informative content for a while now, and I thought I'd finally give it a go. In these videos, I will be looking at the history of how a Pokemon had performed over the game's lifespan. These are a work in progress, so any constructive criticism would be appreciated. Without further ado, let us begin. At the beginning of Pokemon Go, Venusaur was a strong but slightly harder to achieve Pokemon in the 2016 meta. Strong water-type Pokemon like Lapras, Vaporeon, and Poliwrath ruled over gym defending with their high base stats, good defensive typing, and move pools. To combat these Pokemon, trainers began looking at strong grass types with good grass move pools. Unfortunately for Venusaur, it was a much more expensive and rare Pokemon to come across compared to its competition in Exeggutor. There were also two other fully evolved grass/poison types in Vileplume and Victreebel, who both had higher attack stats and similar move pools. All was not lost, however, as Venusaur's above-average bulk and access to the newly buffed Solar Beam helped it bring down the most gym defenders. More rebalances had also toned down the power of overbearing water types, and Venusaur became Chief Water Slayer. Gen 2 released with some very subpar grass types such as Meganium, Jumpluff, and Sunflora, who all lacked either the attack or bulk of Venusaur. Also, new strong Pokemon emerged that were weak to grass, like Tyranitar, Quagsire, Donphan, and Feraligatr. There was a new downside, however. As the game gradually aged, more trainers had access to stronger and rarer Pokemon, like Dragonite and Gyarados, who either resisted or were neutral to Venusaur's stab attacks. Blissey was also a very popular gym defender, being able to tank most Pokemon who couldn't hit it for super effective damage. Blissey also ran double psychic moves to counter fighters, so Venusaur would take a hefty chunk of damage. The gym meta had also begun to stack stronger defenders who could cover for each other's weaknesses. Water Pokemon had started to decline for gym defenders, as the new meta of normals backed up by either ghosts or psychics, who Venusaur struggled with. By the end of Generation 2, Venusaur still remained a decent attacker or defender, but the release of stronger Pokemon was painful to our froggy friend. In July, the game received a huge new update that started the PvE meta in Pokemon Go. Now, trainers could join up in groups of 20 to fight powerful Pokemon in the hopes of catching them. As many raid bosses were vulnerable to grass, Venusaur remained as one of the strongest options for grass-type attackers. However, water and grass types overlap, hitting these same types offensively, meaning unless trainers were desperate to use grass attackers, water types were mainly used for their more accessibility, ease to use, and superior typing. Exeggutor had become most trainers' grass-type attacker because of the early damage window. Gen 3 came with powerful new addition to grass types in Sceptile, who has the amazing and spammable Leaf Blade. Another new Pokemon on the block was Breloom, who had a higher attack stat than Venusaur, but a worse move pull, for the moment at least. With the new changes, Venusaur was still a decent grass-type attacker, especially with the new 5-star raid bosses Kyogre and Groudon, who it was generally a good counter for, bearing Blizzard and Fire Blast. The game had also continued to shift towards Steel and Psychic types like Metagross to back up Blissey bases, gyms. The influx of more Psychic types in legendary raids like the Lati Twins and the 4 Deoxys forms relegated Psychic weak Pokemon to more of a niche role. Gen 4 added a few more notable grass types, such as Torterra, Roserade, Leafeon, both Shaman forms, and Tangrowth. Without Frenzy Plant on Torterra, it could never compete with Venusaur and Roserade. However, it was a different story, as even without Grass Knot, Solar Beam Roserade had very good DPS and didn't need an exclusive move. Once it gained Grass Knot, it became the grass-type attacker to have, which was also helped out by the abundance of Roselias in the wild. I know I caught a few. Tangrowth was also a notable addition, evolving up from the Gen 1 Tangela. It possessed decent bulk, with a monograss typing and Power Whip, but was still underperforming compared to Frenzy Plant Venusaur. Generation 5's release didn't make much impact on the grass meta as a whole, due to most of the newly added grasses having lower attack stats, or, for Virizian's case, an inconsistent move pool. Even when Superior gained Frenzy Plant, it wasn't enough to get close to the Frog. Lilligant had a higher attack stat, but with only Hidden Power Grass as a fast stab move, it didn't even come close. And good luck to anyone looking for Hidden Power Grass Lilligant. they're randomly generated. The introduction of a PvP mode in Pokemon Go was a big thing for a lot of less seen Pokemon. The different League CP settings made Pokemon who had never seen the light of day in PvE viable options. In the Great League, Venusaur found itself comfortably fitting into the meta. Azumarill had taken over the format and was a very meta-centric Pokemon, being on the vast majority of teams and a blanket check for a lot of Pokemon. That's where Venusaur comes in. With powerful stab options in Frenzy Plant and Sludge Bomb, as well as your choice of Vine Whip or Razor Leaf, our froggy friend ripped most waters and fairies apart alike, but had to be wary of ice coverage moves, as well as psychic moves. In the Ultra League, Venusaur has always been a steady pick in the wake of Lead Swampert, and to a lesser extent Togekiss and the other fairies. Venusaur has always remained on the ban list from usage on limited cups, as Frenzy Plant hurts most Pokemon and packing Sludge Bomb hits grass resists quite hard bar steel types. Recently, a new grass has taken the mantle in Trevenant, who packs a useful ghost typing and fast moveset. Venusaur has always struggled with the bulky meta picks in Giratina and Cresselia. The increase in usage of Talonflame and the new uber bulky XL options have limited how successful Venusaur can be, but it's still a reliable anti-water that can beat fairies and go head to head with most of the metagame. Unfortunately in Master League, Dragons and Steels types take on center stage and rule over the format with very little stopping them. Taking super effective damage from Psychic and Flying types doesn't help Venusaur either, losing to Dialga, Melmetal, Dragonite, Mewtwo, Lugia, and much, much more. If you're looking for a strong grass type in Master League, then you're better going with Zarude, Virizion, Tangrowth, and Trevenant instead. On release day for Mega Evolution, Venusaur was gifted with the buff it desperately needed, taking its attack stat from 198 to 241 and giving it a mega damage buff alongside. The bulk increase was nice, giving a DPS of 20.58 and a TDO of 1091, making Venusaur no slouch in raids. Even with Mega Abomasnow hitting the field, Venusaur still reigned supreme as the strongest grass-type attacker in the game when Mega evolved. For PvP, at time of writing, Megas are not allowed to take part in the GBL, but can be used in friendly matches and unofficial formats. When Mega Venusaur is allowed in limited unofficial Sylph formats, it is a behemoth in battle, with great damage and bulk to go toe-to-toe with other titans of limited formats such as Mega Blastoise, Mega Gyarados, and the Fairies. X didn't add many new Pokemon, but it did add a new grass-type starter in Chestnut, who became a very solid pick in PvP. Having access to Vine Whip, Superpower, and Energy Ball, Chestnut could beat the common Steels and Water types of Ultra League and Great League that Venusaur sometimes struggled with. It did lose harder to Flying types and didn't appreciate Charmers, but it was a very consistent pick. What kept Venusaur in play was its Stab Sludge Bomb and not having to worry about stat debuffs. Trevenant was a second notable grass type, rising to be a very good pick in both Great League and Ultra League, packing apart Ghost type and Shadow Claw. Trev was a force to be reckoned with. Gourgeist, who arrived at the same time as Trevenant, shared the typing but not the same usage. Trev was a better Ghost type attacker, but was much glassier compared to Venusaur, sometimes losing out against Water types and Charmers, who Venusaur could beat, without being so scared of Ice and Psychic coverage moves. I'll be honest, I wasn't really sure where to cover Shadow Pokemon, as on release they really weren't worth powering up. But after the Shadow buff, I thought best to mention it now. Shadow Pokemon deal 1.2 times or 20% more damage, while also having lower defense stats. Shadow Pokemon also can't currently Mega Evolve. This hampers Venusaur as it cannot gain both Mega Boost and Damage Boost from being a Shadow. For DPS, Shadow Venusaur is only beaten by Mega Abomasnow, Zarude, and its own Mega. This is also only possible if the Shadow Venusaur has had Frustration TM'd away and has Frenzy Plant. Shadow Venusaur is by no means a bad Pokemon, it just suffers from its difficulty to obtain compared to its Shadow competition in Tangrowth, who doesn't need an event move to be a competitive pick. In conclusion, one could say that Venusaur has had a bumpy ride over the years, where at times it struggled to keep up with power creep. But on the release of PvP and Mega Evolution, there isn't a player without a Venusaur by their side. I want to thank everyone for making it to the end of the video. I was kind of shy making this and nervous at how it turned out, but I think it's been okay. But any constructive criticism will be appreciated, and a big shout out to everyone who supported me making these videos. Thank you.